What's up, guys? I'm back to working on the motorcycle again. Like the end of my last video said, I got the EGR delete done and my rear caliper locked up on me. It was fine for about a day and a half. Then it got so bad I couldn't actually back it out of the driveway. So at first I thought it was the master cylinder, so I pulled the master cylinder on the bike. Camera battery was dead, so you guys didn't get to see that. You get to see me put it back on. But I got the master cylinder off and I got the brake line off the caliper, and the rear tire still won't move, so that means it is the caliper for sure. So today I'm gonna put the master cylinder back on. I'm gonna get brake cleaner and all my brake lines just to double check there's a plug, or to make sure they're not plugged. So with that, what you gotta do is so fluid really normally runs down through here into the caliper. It's kind of dark, sorry about that. So in order to see if it's plugged the other way, which would also cause the caliper to seize up, you spray brake cleaner down inside the hole that's inside of here, and if it comes through the hose and out the other end, you know you don't have to plug that direction. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and then I'm going to go ahead and hook all this back up. Just for now, I got a caliper. I ordered it on eBay. It's going to be here in a couple weeks, so put it back together, see if I can ride it the way it is for now. So yeah, we'll get into that. Alright, what's up, guys? So I'm going to be running that brake cleaner through there now. You should be able to see it coming out by the muffler. That's where my line comes out at. So, hang on, I gotta get in the hole. Here we go. See that? I didn't see it. You see that coming out? That means I don't have a blockage in the line that direction. So that's good. There's actually two lines that get ran by that rear master cylinder. So I'm gonna go ahead and run through the other line. I gotta get it prepped real quick for that. But yeah, we'll do that real quick, so just a second. Alright, so here we go. There's a couple different pieces on here that we need to work with. I had the foot pegs for the rear, the master cylinder obviously, and then the actual brake itself, which I think is out of the camera over here. But the front part of the brake here slides onto the pedal, and then this pin goes through, and there's a cotter pin and a washer on that, so we'll go ahead and install that first. Alright, pin's in, we're throwing the washer and the cotter pin back on. So when you're taking this off, you're just basically doing the reverse of what I'm doing. And there's no particular order in this stuff, you just gotta make sure you get it all when you pull it off. Got cotter pins in. So there was a couple different bolts back here. There's obviously the two that hold the master cylinder in place, and there was a couple for the pedal itself. You know what, I'm gonna install the line first. Get this hose off and install the line. I think, yeah, it's welded. Alright, got that line started. Took me a minute. So, this is a lot easier to do when the master cylinder isn't bolted to the bike. So, if you guys are doing this, that's something to think about, is to remove the bolts from the master cylinder before you get this loose. I ended up fighting it, trying to get it off, but because, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm able to move it around a little bit, which allows me to get the wrench in there easier. So, get this one on. I'm not going to do the front one right now because I don't have that caliper right now, so I'm going to end up having to do this again. But I'll just pull that cap out and screw the front line in like I'm doing now. Then we'll go from there. But right now I'm just worrying about the back one because I still have that back brake on the motorcycle. Alright, so I'm not going to snug her up until I get all the bracket bolt or all the master cylinder bolts back in, because I don't want to bend the line or anything like that. And you see the bike rocking. I have it off the ground just because it sits level and makes it easier for me to get to stuff. That's the only reason I have it off the ground. It's nothing too difficult, especially on this. Bleeding it is going to be probably the most difficult part. So if you guys don't know, bleeding brakes is a process where you get all the air out of the lines, out of the caliper, out of the master cylinder. Doesn't matter what you're taking it out of, it's called bleeding it. And so when you do that, I'll just explain it to you when we get there. I'll let you know when I get there. We'll do it that way. Alright, get this one back in. Alright, so that's on. So I got to get this stuff, the reservoir, get the reservoir back on and that hose back on. I am going to go ahead and do the hose first. I remember which way it went now. I guess it doesn't really matter, huh? Yeah, it don't look like it really matters, so I'm gonna go this way. Alright. And the worst part that sucks about all this stuff is they cram all this stuff in here so tight on motorcycles. Why? I'm not entirely sure, they just do, so. Alright, that's on. Alright, so what I'm hoping is there's not much to actually bleed. I can't bleed until I get the caliper done, so we'll go ahead and switch over and do the caliper now. Alright, so we're pulling the caliper off now. Caliper's really easy to do. You have this line up top, which is held in by a bolt. You gotta pull that off. You're gonna completely remove the whole thing. You usually have 2 bolts that hold the caliper itself in. That's not a washer. Got one down there, and I got one up here on this one. Oh, come on. And so this is actually one of the pieces I'll end up greasing. This is a slide pin, and this is one of the causes of brakes overheating. So we'll be greasing that, and then, oh man, this sucker's on there good. So if it's stuck on there really bad, I used to get a pry bar between the rotor and the caliper itself and pry it off. This was not wanting to go. Making a liar out of me. Yeah, definitely, if it's stuck on here like this, your caliper's definitely locked up. Ouch. Come on. Oh, there it is. Alright, I'm gonna press this down. I'm gonna be greasing a bunch of stuff in here. I'll show you guys all that stuff on the bench. Alright, so these calipers are actually a really simple design. I really like them. There's one bolt on the back here that holds these slide pins in, and that's how you pull the caliper, or the pads out. So get that bolt out, and this guy slides up and off. Then I'm gonna have to get a hammer to tap those out. And if they're like the front ones are stuck in there really bad because it's been a long time since they've been done. Alright guys, got the slide pins out. Wasn't easy, but I got it. So when I press calipers down, especially at home, I don't do this at work, is I get a C-clamp, get the C-clamp in there on the pad, and then just tighten the C-clip down. That's another way to tell if your caliper is bad. If it's hard to push in, your caliper is bad. They should be relatively easy to press in, especially on one this small. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and start twisting that down. I throw a pad in there because it's got dual pistons. And that sucker's not one to press. This caliper's way gone. On these pads, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but they are, they're supposed to be kind of just a shiny metal color, but right now they've got blue colored and a bunch of different colors in there. And what that's from is when metal gets really hot, it changes colors, kind of looks like a rainbow, and that's going with the pad, so I know it's locking up and overheating. So I'm gonna go ahead and play with this a little bit, see if I can get it loosened up a little bit. Alright, so I went ahead and pulled the cylinders out of the inside of the caliper, or the pistons, whatever they're called, to assess the situation I got at hand, just to make it work so I get the next one coming. And these are in pretty bad shape. I don't know if you can, but all these black lines and corrosion and stuff around here, that needs to go. That's what's causing my caliper to catch. Plus these O-rings here are completely shot. I mean, they're coming out and they're starting to come out in pieces and stuff, so I need to peel out what I can and try to salvage whatever the rest is in there. I'm gonna spray this all out with brake cleaner and get all the junk and stuff out of there too. I'm gonna take these. I'm probably gonna get some Scotch-Brite and gently scrub all the stuff off. I don't want to damage these too bad, even though I am replacing them. So that's what I'm gonna be doing next. But yeah, you can't really see the O-rings in there, but they're in pretty rough shape. The entire thing is just in rough shape. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, go ahead and show you guys what I'm doing here. So I got some brake clean on my Scotch-Brite pad here. I know it's a dish pad, but what I got, I'm going to take and scrub off as much of this as I possibly can. And then I'm going to run down to O'Reilly's and grab a, well, that's actually melting. Yeah, don't do that, it's melting. But I've already started, so I'm going to finish. I'm going to run down to O'Reilly's, grab a brass bristle brush that goes on my drill. I'll go ahead and finish cleaning it with that, since that's falling apart now. I don't understand, but so yeah, so I got most of the junk off now. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll get you guys back when I'm putting them back in. So alright guys, so I didn't have the brass bristles like I was looking for. So I got some sandpaper. This is 800 grit, I got a 400 grit. Those are the two I'm gonna be using. I'm gonna try the 800 first, see if it'll scuff the stuff off like I want it to, and then if it's done, I'll move to the 400. But I want to use the smoothest one possible because I don't want to scratch this if I can help it. I know I am replacing it, but I prefer not to be scuffing it anyways. Oh, there's 2 sheets of 800 there. Nice. Yeah, it seems to be doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and do this to both of them and get it in there. Yeah, the whole point is not to scratch these. These need to be as smooth as possible because they got to slide in and out of there. And when they're not smooth anymore, that's what causes them to start locking up. They sell kits for this, but since I'm replacing it, I want to put a kit on it. I just want to be able to ride it for the next couple weeks until my new caliper gets here. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I'm liking that. Yeah, it's not scuffing it too bad at all, and it's getting off what I want it to. Alright, so it looks like after I scuffed it off, I just got some pits in there, which isn't a good thing, but that'll work for now. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other one. Alright, got those cylinders back in. Wasn't easy, but I got it. So these are those slide pins that hold the pads in. I'm going to grease these with brake caliper grease. So that way the pads slide back and forth really easy. That's another reason that calipers like to seize up, is because it can't slide right. So I'm going to go ahead and grease these up and get these in. This stuff is like stupid messy. I don't understand. Usually caliper grease isn't like this. I must have just got some real nasty stuff. I really don't know. But if you get this on your fingers or your clothes or stuff, it's like impossible to get off. So got it greased up. Kind of run it in there really good. Gonna do the other one. These pins got to get slid in with the pads in it. So that's why I'm not sliding them all the way in right now. I'm just going to get them started with the grease in there so they slide nice and easy. that doesn't really matter, except for getting them in easier. I'm gonna go ahead and splash just a dab of grease on the back of these, so that way as the pins go through it, sucks the grease through here. So I got to get the first caliper in there. Now these ones are on springs, that's how most of these are. So you got to hold the pad down while you stick it through. Which makes it kind of difficult. Alright, that was actually really easy, I won't lie. So we're going to do the other one now. Gotta be careful with this stuff, because if you get it in the wrong spot, it collects dirt and will cause other issues. Oops, that was the wrong side. It's alright. Get these suckers set in place. And then I gotta get these pins all the way back in. Go ahead and use the hammer to tap them in. Alright, those are in all the way. So that little bracket I pulled off at first is gonna go back on now. There it is. This is not 100% guaranteed to work as far as the caliper season up, but it's gonna help, so might as well. I did this on that front caliper that I removed, and it didn't do anything. So just to show it doesn't sometimes work. But all right, we're gonna fill this back on the bike now. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and bleed the master cylinder right now. So this is going to be really tricky, especially on this. What you got to do though is got to get fluid in the reservoir, and then have a wrench ready on the line. Got to press it down, pop the line open with the brake pedal held down. Then you close it, and then you can let the line up, and you just repeat that until you get fluid in there. And you'll be able to tell because bubbles will quit coming out that line. It's a lot easier when it's out of the car and you do it on the bench, but yeah. So yeah, that's how you bleed master cylinders. And I'm struggling, so to get this one bled anyways, so yeah. Alright, so we're getting the caliper back on now. I slide them on the rotor first. And then this one's tricky because the tire's kind of big. Get it where it needs to go. I'm going to stick the bolt that doesn't need grease in first to hold it in place. Again, I'm not going to tighten it down all the way because I need to slide the other one in. I'm going to grease this one up and get it in there. And on side pins and stuff, I just go super heavy. I coat the snot out of it. Because all it's going to do is help. So be careful not to get all the grease off. Get that slid in. Now I'm going to tighten these up, and then we're going to go ahead and get the line back on and bleed it. Alright, it's called a banjo bolt. This is what the fluid goes through. There's copper washers on these. You have to put those washers back on. Those are not optional. Those stop the fluid from leaking. The only reason I say that is because I worked in a shop and we had a guy come in. He said he couldn't get his brakes to work, and he had forgotten those washers, and his fluid was leaking all over the place. So put those back on, give them a good solid snug. You can't get these too tight, so you gotta be careful. You don't want to strip that out because then you have to replace your caliper. Alright, so now we're gonna bleed it. I already bled the master cylinder, so I don't have to do that again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour fluid into the reservoir. I'm gonna pump this brake over here, the brake pedal, until I can feel pressure building. And then I'm gonna, this one's tricky because part of it's over there, part of it's over here. Once I get that pressure built up over here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold down on the pedal, release the bleeder, and close the bleeder and let up on the pedal. Alright, here we go. I'm starting to get pressure now. Get some good pressure built up here. Go ahead and put some more fluid in this guy. Alright. Some more fluid in this guy. Turn down a little bit again. Alright. Now I need to loosen up that bleeder. If I can find my wrench. I'm going to shut you guys off so I can find my wrench. Alright, so the bleeder on brake calipers is this little nut looking thing with a funny nipple on the top. So what you're going to do is you're going to push the pedal down on the other side over here, open it up, then close it, let the pedal up, pump it a couple times, and do that again until the pedal gets stiff. Gotta make sure you hold that pedal down until that bleeder's closed though. Of course, it's more difficult for me because I can't actually see what I'm doing, so. But that's it. So I'm going to do that until the brake pedal feels good and see what happens.